With all the big calls on all those big races. It's a warm welcome back to this week's What a Shout as we bring the curtain down on the 21-22 jump season. Yes, it's a massive weekend for our sponsors, Bet365 at Sandown. The Bet365 Gold Cup being the absolute highlight and one of 4 big race previews we give you at Sandown. Myself, Dave Orton, thrilled to be back with you somewhere in the capital on a Friday morning again. Loads to talk about. Couple of superb interviewees coming your way. We'll get to that after we go to Paul Kealy, who's back on the panel. Thrilled to have you, Keels. Full of life?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this final jumps meeting at Sandown. Final meeting of the year. Always go.
You will be pumped for it.
I shall be there tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, OK. Pat Cooney, where's he now? Got to be somewhere in Esher, I imagine.
Yes, I'm in Cobham, about 10 minutes from Sandown Park Racecourse. And just like Keels, this is my favourite meeting of the entire year. It feels a very end-of-term party about it all at Sandown on Saturday.
I'll tell you what, Pat, we've seen you in milk tray outfits, haven't we, with the mine. Now you're getting a master of this. Look, you've put a filter on the background. You look like the great magical Cooney.
Yeah, that was more an error than a plan. But yeah, someone said it looks quite good, so I thought I'd keep with it. Well, not that I can find the button to undo it, of course.
No, you've got no chance. I seem to remember Jim Goldie did that once, didn't he, with us? We've had loads of great guests. It has been the jump season of appetites, hasn't it? We wanted crowds back. That was the big thing, I think. Crowds back at King George, Boxing Day, Dublin Racing Festival, Cheltenham, Grand National.
Yeah,
how's it gone?
I don't think they went to the Dublin Racing Festival, did they?
Oh no, there was no staff.
No, they didn't.
They were allowed to
they
go.
did go to the Dublin Racing Festival. Sorry, it was Christmas. They couldn't, wasn't it? Yeah, you're right.
It seems like a long time ago we did the big jump off,
doesn't it? I mean, getting back on the racecourse was great. I'd only been to 1 or 2.
I was going to ask everyone for a highlight. I suppose perhaps when you first went back to Sandown might be yours.
Well,
they were carrying you out, weren't they?
No, first going back to Sandown after the first lockdown, that was the Tingle Creek 2 years ago. I can't remember how long it lasted, didn't it? But yeah, no, the Tingle Creek in December was an amazing day. I mean, I'd put Grenadine up at 7-2 in the weekender. And you know my theory when it comes to punting, when they drift, you just got to keep backing them. And he went off at 12-1. It was the most ridiculous price I've ever seen in my entire life. I'd like to say the rest of the season was as successful. It wasn't brilliant. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. Cheltenham was just a string of near misses and frustrations, and a winner at the end of. But no, it was fantastic. It was great to get back down to Cheltenham as well for the festival. I like staying up there. Loved doing the shows that we do in the morning. So yeah, it was good. I mean, what we need, and there is a problem as we've seen. We need more runners.
Yeah.
Small fields have been a plague of the entire season. There's 3 of them tomorrow. At least they're competitive. There's no absolute certainty in any of the races, but you'd just like to see bigger fields, wouldn't you?
Has the season met expectations, in a concise answer from Paul Kealy?
I wouldn't say 100%.
No.
I don't want to have a real downer on it. I think we've seen some very good horses. Great to see Honeysuckle get the roar she deserved.
Unbelievable.
In the Champion Hurdle. Aplutard was fantastic. Constitution Hill looks like it could be an absolute monster. So there's loads of positives. But the worry is that we've got so much racing, we've got so much graded races, we're getting small field after small field, and something has to be done about that, because it's not good for racing overall.
Well, we're about to go into pasture, Pat, then, for the jump season domestically, before it all starts again rather quickly, of course. There's still Punchestown to come. We'll be hearing about Punchestown during the show, viewers. Do not worry about that. But Pat, perhaps a final word from you on this current jump season.
Yeah, I think I thoroughly enjoyed it, and there's plenty to look forward to going ahead to next season. I think the Cheltenham Bumper form is going to stand up extremely well. If I could pick one particular day and moment that was a highlight for me, I'd go Cheltenham Gold Cup Day, and it was after Billaway had just won under an amazing ride from Patrick Mullins. And for the last 2 races, it was just a general sing-song. It was all good-natured. I know a lot of people frowned on it, but to be there and just to see young people, happy people, singing away quite merrily, and then, of course, the next favourite, Ellie May won, I thought it was a tremendous atmosphere. And if that's going to continue over to the rest of the season, then I'm all for it, as long as everyone behaves themselves, of course.
Yeah, OK, so fast forward to this October coming up in 2022. Join us back in the studio. We'll be doing another big jump off, talking to Keels and, racing industry professionals. Hopefully by that point, there's a new blueprint for how we go forward, of course. And have we just tapped into a new audience in racing with that sing-along? They've certainly done it globally in America and Australia as well. Get out there, have a look. The young uns, they are coming back to the racecourse. A huge congratulations to Paul Nicholls. Yet another Trainers' Championship for him. Of course, Brian Hughes, 200 winners this week. Not even got time to talk about Brian's phenomenal record. Only the fourth jump jockey in history to do that. Two of the previous men have sat in this studio, of course. Richard Johnson, who celebrated him as well on Twitter. Peter Scudamore and AP McCoy, we know about that. Top conditional, Kevin Brogan. What a talent he looks in the saddle as well. The future is bright. But of course, Keels, this is all put into perspective somewhat by a horrible incident last weekend at Haydock, where poor Josh Moore got a terrible fall in the last, rushed to Aintree University Hospital, successful surgery on a broken femur, but complications on chest injuries. You've seen him now today. Did horrible news for the Moore family, who've been through such a lot already. And it just shows you what these guys go out and do.
It does. I mean, they're incredibly tough jockeys, aren't they? And the last thing you want to hear when you give reports about this is about people being on ventilators and the like. And, it's fingers crossed from everybody in the entire industry that they do seem to be such a lovely family, don't they? And Josh Moore has already had his share of ups and downs when it comes to injuries. And this is a particularly bad one. And we can only just give him and his family all the best and hope that I hope that he pulls through and makes a full recovery.
Yeah, an incredible chap, an incredible jockey, an incredible family, and all from the Racing Post. Our thoughts and prayers with them. Let's have a look then at what we've got coming up on this weekend's What a Shout. I've got an interview with Jed Mason, the high-profile owner, who'll talk to us about Clan des Obeaux' exploits this season, the marvellous Paul Nicholls and what he's managed to achieve. Jed's a huge cod there. Talk about Alex Ferguson. Do tune in for that. We've got Christian Williams coming up later on the show. Of course we have. It's only the trifecta of horses he's got in the biggie. And 4 big race previews before the weekend winners. Well, it's a warm What a Shout welcome then. Let's go all the way up to Manchester, Salford in particular. High-profile owner Jed Mason joins us from his offices, the Mawson Group. Good morning to you, Jed.
Good morning. How are you?
Absolutely buzzing to have you on, actually. We've had some owners on this show over the times, but a lot of people get used to the trainers and the jockeys. We have had John Hales on before Politolog went and won another Tingle Creek. Of course, your great association with them. Most racegoers out there, Jed, will know your history, of course. Extremely successful businessman. Good friend now with Alex Ferguson. Memory lane we will go down at some point during this interview. Of course, everyone remembers What a Friend. But it's fair to say that each and every season you've got Grade 1 performers coming out of your ears, really. Of course, we've got to start with Clan des Obeaux. What a highlight that was. Your house must be full of bowls, Jed, because that was his second bowl at Aintree.
Oh, yeah, fantastic to see Clan do the job, really, in terms of coming off the Newbury race. I think a lot of people have said, "Oh, is that the best we've seen?" But Paul manages always to sprinkle his magic dust and get some of them horses rocking again. And wow, what a performance against a very quality field! I think it was to do it on back-to-backs was great. And that bowl, yeah, it's notorious for when What a Friend won that we ended up in a Chinese restaurant eating chicken chow mein out of it. So I think we were certainly drinking more out of it than eating out of it this time.
Well, we know you like to celebrate, Jed. We'll get onto that in a little bit, and quite right too. But of course, a lot of people, think about, Clan not going to Cheltenham. We know that it's not his ideal track, King George's and all that sort of stuff, flat track. But of course, you have Protektorat as well, of course, running in the Gold Cup. That's the kind of calibre of horse that we've got. Clan des Obeaux, of course, entered as he tries to do the now infamous double, or the Clan fans will know out there, we can call it, Aintree over to Punchestown, where he saw off Alboom Photo in the Irish Gold Cup, of course, last year. Now, we've got him rated a pound off his performance last year. That's his very best. How is he going into next week, where you face up to 9 Mullins inmates?
Yeah. Is it Galvin's in as well?
Galvin is in as well, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's who's who race again, isn't it? On Mini Gold Cup, eh? So, yeah, I feel Paul always puts the horse first, and he's, in good order, as they say. What was the race a little bit tougher with the ground maybe this year than last, possibly, but no, he's going there in good form, and yeah, we're excited by it.
Yeah, and the blinkers stay on, I'm assuming, Jed.
Blinkers stay on, yeah. And I think Harry's always said, things like blinkers would keep his focus, really, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll stick with that winning formula.
I'm assuming you're making the flight over there, are you? Like everyone else that's flocking back?
We sure will, because like most owners, we all missed that interaction of being present at senior horse win. They don't always come round that frequent, so you want to be there. And we're going to absolutely make the effort. Mr. Barber, it'd be lovely to see Mr. Paul Barber and family there, because he missed out. Sadly, Aintree wasn't there, and it's always nice to celebrate with Paul. And he was the one who introduced us to the horse.
That's quite a nice segue, actually, Jed, because I was going to ask you, how tough it was during coronavirus. Lots have been said about that now. But this season in particular, the appetite has never been wetter for it, had it? Has it quite delivered up to expectations? I mean, lots has been said politically once again about this season, and it's small fields, prize money rearing its head all over again. We are perhaps looking at the race planning committee being, some graded races, rightly or wrongly, being removed. We see these Saturday Grade 1 races, don't we? The clashes that we want, they don't happen. Did it meet your expectations?
This season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we'd all love to have more prize money. But it's not the only thing that you get out of bed to want to win, is it? The prize money, it's the thrill of the win. And senior horse cross that line. But yes, prize money is important. And quality races every Saturday, you look forward to, and if you have a horse, if you're able to have a horse that's good enough to go into them, why not? And more the merrier for me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about your ownership trifecta, as I called it to you off air. Of course, John Hales. Your association with him, but also Sir Alex Ferguson as well, who everyone knows that Sir Alex, even in the heydays of his premiership titles, was always looking out for what the 3 o'clock at Newbury might be. How did you actually get involved with Sir Alex?
Yeah, just before we do that, I'll come on to Sir Alex. John Hales. Crikey, it's been great to be part with John, and I think his trophy cabinet it's easier to say what he hasn't won in there. I think the Gold Cup's the magic one, and obviously we're trying to address that for him. Who shares a horse with us as well is Sir Alex in that partnership. And how I got involved is through his son Jason. Obviously, good friends and introductions over dinner. We sort of chatted about horses, and at the time, Alex was very much into the flats, and I was much into the jumps, national hunt. So we decided that we agreed that if there was one horse that came up, we'd join forces, and that we did. And our first horse was What a Friend, and what a friend that horse turned out to be as well to us.
What a character as well, wasn't he? Everyone loved him. He was around at the same time as Denman, wasn't it? But he would go to Aintree every year and see off all the best around. Yeah,
he was a bit quirky, but I think Ruby said to Paul Nicholls that actually What a Friend was one of his best training triumphs, because he managed to get. No disrespect to saying it, and sort of his view was an average horse. We didn't think he was average at the time, but I think he was saying, he got the best out of him, and he did. Winning the Lexus, winning the Tote Bowl, that was absolutely fantastic. And those Grade 1s were great days.
Oh, you forget about the Lexus, of course, when he went over to Ireland. So, look, we've got Clanders Obeaux coming up next week. We'll all be cheering him on here on What a Shout, Jed, for you, 100%. Let's talk about some of your other horses, if you don't mind, because I'm invested into a couple of them, I've got to say. Protektorat, let's talk about him. Happy with how he came out of everything this season? I suppose full steam ahead for a Gold Cup campaign next season?
Yeah, I think he answered the question about 3 miles for us at Cheltenham. Delighted to get a place in, really. So, What a Friend was 4th, so we've gone 3rd, so we're notching up, getting nearer to that post. I think probably Aintree came a bit too soon, in all fairness, didn't it, this year? And it does take out, there's not many horses that can go to Aintree after a campaign to Cheltenham. Some of the hurdle horses probably can and proven, but chase horses, it takes a lot out. But we're just glad Sir Alex, John are happy, and Dan and Harry that we've got to see that he can stay 3 mile, and he was the baby in that race, wasn't he, in terms of age? So he's got a good future ahead if we can keep him sound. And I look forward to an exciting horse. I mean, he's a gutsy horse. he always comes through at the end like a steam engine, and he's done that since he was first running. So hopefully along may that continue, and that dream's still alive. So yeah, crikey. I'd go missing. We'd all go missing in action if we won the Gold Cup.
He's a young horse, isn't he, of course? I remember that run when he signed off at Aintree. He sort of came there 4 out and everyone started to get excited and he pulled wide, and then just that Cheltenham mark had been left, isn't it? Another horse, and this is where, right, let's take the earpiece out and the mic off. Just me and you talking now, Jed. What are we going to do with Monmiral? I'm a huge fan of this horse.
Yeah. So he had a really terrific season last year, didn't he? 5 on the trot, and positioned himself to be the up-and-coming... well, he was a novice then, wasn't he? So I think novices always second season find it hard, don't we? They're fighting 5th. He suffered an injury, but he's not quite come back as we wanted him. I think he was fortunate to get the second. He got placed, but I think, the couple of horses, I think, fell in front, didn't they, at that race? But he's still exciting. You can't write off Monmiral. He's a lovely-looking horse. It's all been about chasing, really, for Monmiral. He's a big, tall horse, isn't he? So I think, Paul and John and Lisa and Alec, we're all for exciting prospects of him going over fences, and I think that's where you get, again, Paul is notoriously for the chasing horses, isn't he? So no one should be writing Monmiral off.
Absolutely, my finger's going up for that as well, Jed. I love it very much. So yeah, can't wait for him over a fence, and it looks like he's going to relish a proper trip as well, I think, as he matures as well. Can I ask you about Hitman as well, Jed? We thought we might see him in the Oaksy chase, didn't we? Obviously, he's come out of that. Whether he'd have stayed or not is subjective. He has not got over the line this season, despite looking, in the Holden Gold Cup, it looked I think he must have gone 101 jump in the last, and whether that left a mark on him, I'm not sure, but last time at Aintree, again, he cruised into the race. Is there a good horse just waiting to burst out of Hitman?
Absolutely, David. I think that's I think Hitman's a soft spot for us, for the, obviously there's a different ownership there, but we're all keen to see him. He's been the bridesmaid so many times, hasn't he? Second. He's knocking on that door, and he's not out of the placing. So again, I think he's learning his trade. He's another young horse up against the older ones, and I just think, for me, sneakily, I think he'll do something next year. I think there's a Grade 1. I think the ground was a bit hard for us, and maybe come too soon from Sandown to go to Sandown, but. I'm excited. We're all excited by Hitman. Peter Don's involved with that, myself, Mr. Giles, and Paul Hogarth. So yeah, Paul has always spoke very highly of Hitman. So I just hope he keeps the faith. That's right. And again, he's another one to say, keep the faith.
You have this remarkable way of putting together these high-profile owners, Jed. I don't know how you do it, but whatever it is you're doing, keep on doing it. And, of course, we saw you at Good Friday at Newcastle when the wonderful Nat Green brought to life your celebrations from the Earl of Cotswolds. That's a hell of a clip. If you haven't seen it out there, go and find it in Twitter world. And there you were in the back, sort of putting the 2 Tristan Davies brothers together. He's an exciting horse for a flat campaign.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. They are saying it's a fairy tale at the moment, and we don't want it to end. He went on the jumps, and the Nigel twisted, and Nigel's trained him, and Will found him and plotted, and what a great combination of a team, and Sam in there, and the fact that he's gone from jumps into flats and proving himself, really. He just stays, and he never gives up. He's a fantastic horse to see, and I do try and see him when I'm down in Cotswolds or down the road from the yard, and that plotting of now he's going to Ascot. The dream lives on, and there's a horse I bought from his son, really, to take an interest, and he's ended up with a really, really good horse, and he keeps reminding me he's winning more than me.
The future is bright then, Jed. Happy days.
Yeah, he can go anywhere now. Apparently he's invited to out to the Melbourne festival, the Melbourne Cup in Australia, Dubai, and it's in by invitation now. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Ascot with him. It'll be great.
So you got the top hat out, ready to go. That'll probably be on the Thursday, won't it? That's a 5-day festival. It would be remiss of me, Jed, not to ask you about the hottest topic in the land at the moment. It's a bit of a hot potato out there.
Yeah,
but lots of talk about this 5-day festival at Cheltenham happening. What's your view on that?
There's obviously always two sides to everything, isn't there? You can see why. Maybe if you're running a business, you can see why an extra day makes sense and come through COVID. But from an owner's point of view, I just personally probably feel it dilutes the whole event. You don't want anything to ever become a chore, like another day, and then it weakens and dilutes the racing. That like the FA Cup finals of racing in quality fields, and I don't think you'd be wanting to see that dilution. So I would say keep it as it is. Why change it? Keep the quality. Try and get the prize money up there and make it more selective.
Yeah,
that's my view on it, really, personally.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of general sort of view, isn't it, for people in racing? And interesting to hear what Jed's got to think about it, viewers. Let's finish then, Jed, if you don't mind, a word about your great mate who gets yet another Trainers' Championship delivered to him at Sandown. The Bet365 Gold Cup. He's got Monmiral going for that. What a way to sign it off it would be. He's quite a remarkable man, Paul Nicholls, isn't he? The operation, you're a huge part of the cog in the wheel down there. He's done it again.
Absolutely, yeah, done it again. And, fair credit to people who are behind him have all taken him to the wire, and he always says, Dan, the young ones coming through, young grasshoppers coming through, and Dan's had a fantastic season, Nicky and Nigel and everyone. So, but Paul, to keep in front, is just remarkable, really. I know Mr. Pipe did it, but this is a different era and things have moved on, and it just... Something about Paul is he makes me, and I'm sure for the same for a lot of owners I've spoke to, he makes you feel like he's only got your horse in the yard by way of communication to you all the time. So that's an ingredient I think is a good communicator. He'll pick up the phone, very little by emails, and is that will to win. Seeing Sir Alex and Paul, there's certainly that special ingredient of wanting to win, which is common between the two of them, that you can see. And I'd like to think I've got that in business as well. But winning is important, but it's not at all costs. And if you do it looking after people, and I know he looks after Team Digit, and he looks after the owners, and he looks after the horses, and he keeps tweaking things, which you've got to do. Those extra 1% just make that difference. So I'm delighted for him. 13. Is it another 2 he's got to do to match Martin Pipe's record, isn't it?
He's hot on the heels, isn't he? Absolutely.
So that'll be his next goal. Yeah, he'll want to surpass that, and hopefully he does, and good luck to him. He deserves.
Yep. We're lucky to have Paul in the game. We're lucky to have you on the show, Jed. It's been an absolute pleasure. You can see your enthusiasm knows no bounds, really. Good luck with the Cotswolds at Royal Ascot. Good luck with Monmiral next season. When he's about to make his chase debut, I'm going to ask you to come back on, Jed. All right, and we'll get the finger up again for him. But good luck next Wednesday as well with Clan. We'll all be cheering him on.
Well, really appreciate that, and thanks for the time, and thanks for listening. And I love the sport, and it's been great to me, and it's been great to many. And good luck to all the owners. Yeah, take care.
Well, what a pleasure that was, and thanks to Jed Mason for coming on. Again, he seems to have these extremely high-profile syndicates, doesn't he? But Clanders Obeaux, what a friend we mentioned in that. Monmiral, come on, we know we can get Monmiral winning a Grade 1 over fences. Clanders Obeaux next week. You're going to Punchestown, that's the first thing we should say.
Yeah, I'm going. I can't wait. I love Punchestown. It's really relaxed atmosphere, great fun. Anybody who hasn't gone, I advise you to go. It's fantastic. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I had a good bet on Clan last year in the race last year. Beat Alba and Photo. Whether we can do it again, he disappointed me in the King George, and he disappointed me after that Newbury, and I gave up on him, and then he drifted like a bars, and he won at Aintree, and he was always in command that day. So, Paul Nicholls has got him back, as he does with these horses. He does keep getting them back to their best. If Obeaux gets 3 mile well for the first time in his life, he's definitely the one to beat. But it's fascinating.
Big if.
It is a big if. I mean, the only thing is, he was a very young horse when he was being tried at 3 miles, and he was placed in an Albert Bartlett. He was placed in an RSA. So the fact that he's older, stronger, who says he might? Who says he won't turn up in next year's Gold Cup?
Anything that runs against Obeaux seems to win on all the other tracks. He's got that magic form, hasn't he?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but of course he dropped back to 2 miles at the meeting last year, Pat, and got turned over by, course, Chacun, Paul Soir. Thank you very much, Paul Kealy. What price is at the moment is the Great Clan for the Wednesday showpiece?
Well, he's 7-2 at the moment, Dave, and that's second favourite behind Obeaux, who's 15-8. Then 4 Manella Indo, 11-2 Galvin, and bigger prices bar. But with Allaho, I suppose it's going to be good to yield in, which would be fine for him, helping him get the trip. But I'm a little bit like you. He won 2 seasons ago. He won over 2.5 miles, and he dropped down in trip to take on Chasson-Poursois. So connections clearly weren't thinking he was a 3-miler 2 seasons ago. Maybe they are now, but no doubt his optimum trip is slightly less than 3, so he could be vulnerable. But you'd like to think it'd be a strong run race, and maybe Manella Indo will get a forward going ride. Clanders Obeaux, we know, stays very well. So he's a sort of favourite, Allaho. I think, as good as he is, stamina is clearly an issue for him. So maybe we'll be taking him on. Clanders Obeaux, I think he's rock solid, personally. He won this a year ago. He's the fresher in the race, and he always travelled well at Aintree. But it's a deep old race. If they all turn up, it'll be a hard race to win.
Yeah, it certainly will. One thing I would say is that Aploutard would never have been seen as a 3-miler earlier in his career, and he ran in 2-mile Grade 1s.
Yeah.
Does happen.
We do get a bit pigeonholey with horses and distance,
Yeah, you can do it. He's definitely worth another try, put it that way.
There you go. An unexpected preview of the Punchestown showpiece next Wednesday. Our producers will be going, where's that in the running order? Well, that's what we give you here for watching What a Shout. Right, back to this week's Inns action. Let's go to Sandown then. Right, what's going to win the 150 is what I asked Pat Cooney. Who's going to go off Fav?
Well, Napa's Hill, the top weight's a good way to start, really. And, of course, this fellow was very prominent in the betting in some really ultra-competitive handicaps. He didn't run particularly well in them, I have to say, but he was back in business a week ago. He's the classy horse of the race. He won the Aintree Bumper, of course, a year ago. He has got top weight. He is favourite. He doesn't strike me as the bargain of the century, though. I think there'll be others below him in the weights who have got decent chances themselves. Second favourite and popular has been Headlaw of John Joe O'Neill, and that's the one that catches my eye. And he's won his last 3 races, and he really jumps very novice-y, and you just think, what's he going to be like in a big field and so on. But, there's no denying he's got a terrific engine. And I just think he might be one of these horses we look at in 6 months' time, for instance, and he's not rated 126 anymore. He's rated 140, whatever. So he strikes me as an interesting horse in terms of where he'll be in progressive. But I look at Napa's Hill, top weight. I'd need a bit of convincing he's a value bet as market leader. So I'm sure there'll be others who will be popular in the market. I think there's 15 runners and we'll be first 4 places.
There you go. That's what you want to hear, isn't it, Kills? So this is a bit of an informative race, isn't it, these novice finals? But we need the puzzle solved. Where did you come down?
Yeah, I came down. I did look at Headlaw because he has been winning with a lot in hand. He is up in the weights, and like Pat said, his jumping isn't always the best. I ended up coming down on Dibble Decker for Tom Lacey. I just really like the way he went about it at Taunton last time. He was, he was favourite, but the runner-up was one well since, and he really threw himself at the last 2 hurdles to get the job done. That was soft ground. He's got form on good to soft. Interesting that they threw him in at the deep end and a listed bumper on his debut on good ground, and he made quite a move before being run out of it late on. I think there's a good horse in there. He's only on 1-2-2, getting a fair bit of weight. So he'd be the one for me.
When you do these shows, you look for lines to take out of it. I think there's a good horse in there. Would be your key line at the moment. I'm hoping that's the case with Dr. Parnassus as well. 4-year-old going into much more competitive company, shall we say, experience-wise. But I think he was better than he showed in the Triumph. I think the Triumph was pretty good race this year.
Yeah.
I quite like it.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. He probably needs to be better than he showed with a mark of 136 for what he's actually done.
We don't know with the 4-year-olds, do we? It's one of those ratings. But I just looked at the field.
Potentially a very good 4-year-old season. Yes.
Yeah. I like the look of Wizkid as well. But did he show his hand last time? Right, that's the 150. You got the tips there. Dibble Decker for Keels. Let's go to the 225. It's the Oaksy Chase. Mr. Fisher touched off in the race last year by Frodon, much to my chagrin, because we couldn't get him right. But I got a payday out of Mr. Fisher this year at Kempton, and I'm going back in again, like you are.
You did, yeah. I'll go back in again as well. Now, you know, it's easy enough to argue that he shouldn't even be favoured because St Calvados is officially rated the same horse and he's getting £6, but he is a proper mudlark.
If St Calvados does Mr. Fisher on the running, I will think the game is rigged. Because there's no justice in this world if that happens. Because what has gone on with St Calvados?
Yeah, I mean he's
chances.
He's definitely been below from. Didn't actually run that bad behind Fakir Davies last time.
He didn't kill.
But he ran better than Mr. Fisher, to be fair. But I don't think Mr. Fisher likes Aintree. I think them fences are too stiff for him.
Yeah.
And of course he is a small field specialist. And I think the two reasons that: one, he jumps better, and two, he's got a bit of pace at the end of a race. So I think it's all in his favour, despite the fact that he's giving £6 a horse is officially rated the same.
You'll be excited about this because you put him up at a big price.
I put him up at 9-2 earlier in the week. So yeah, I mean that was when Hitman was made favourite. I didn't quite understand that with the bookmakers there, because there was very little prospect of mine of him ever staying 2 miles 6.5 furlong. And I'm assuming that Paul Nicholls has agreed because he took him out.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So Pat, 9-2, Keels put him up at. What price can people back Mr. Fisher at now? High buy on the sofa?
Yeah, he's 6-4 at the moment. He has been a popular order, but I don't need to keep records of whenever I back this horse, because every time I've backed him, he's either pulled up or unseated. So the honeymoon. So I've been backing him at 8-1 in races. I'm not been backing him at 6-4. But yes, he just seems to look like the likely winner, doesn't he? Small field, Nico de Bonneville, good ground. I think that's key to the race. I'll let him go unbacked at 6-4, but definitely likely winner, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think Keels has absolutely nailed it, by the way. He's getting back on the serious hat. Small fields do enable the Fisher to come up properly at his fences. Let's go to the 3 o'clock, then it's the Celebration Chase. Come to you again because your old pal is back here.
Yeah, and I do not understand why, I mean, he is, just marginal second favourite in a lot of places, and I do not get that at all. I mean, I make him even money favourite. 2-1 Nubi Negra, 7-2 So Royal. So I'm not one for smashing in at 13 or 8, etc. But it's just the wrong price. I mean, he's been to Sandown 3 times in his life. The first time he was second in the Tingle Creek. The next time he won the Tingle Creek. The next time he won this race last year, where Nubi Negra was 12 lengths behind him. Where So Royal was 12 lengths behind him, and then he won the Tingle Creek in December when Nubi Negra was 12 lengths behind him. So he's the horse with the Sandown form, and he's back there. You can ignore that run at Leopardstown last time. It was perfectly predictable because the Nicholls horses were so badly out of form.
Apparently got mud in his eye, Paul told me. So, because he went on the inside, they think he had an eye injury. That's
really?
Yeah.
Really?
So,
well, I mean, there could have been any number of excuses for him then, because the Jet Stable was going through a horrible spell at the time.
Yeah.
But, this would have been his absolute target for the rest of the season. Obviously, missed Cheltenham, comes straight here. He's going to be absolutely bang on. He's going to be incredibly hard.
Is this a shootout between him and Nubi Negra?
I'd like to say no, because I love So Royal, but I thought he had a pretty hard race over a trip that stretched him last time.
If you could own one horse in training,
you'd love to own. You'd love to. I'd love to own So Royal. What a lovely horse he is. He just, heart on sleeve. He tries every single time he runs. He's got a remarkable CV to his name. Loads of wins over fences and hurdles. It all comes alike to him. He's a slick jumper of both. And I love him, but I do think he had quite a hard race, and obviously he had a hard race before running into the Christmas hurdle, and he blew out then in the Christmas hurdle after the fight in 5th. So I'd say Nubi Negra was a danger. I'm not convinced he particularly likes Sandown, although he does go well fresh. So again, the time off that he's had after missing the champion chase due to the ground.
Has he run here on his ground would be my question. He has been placed here before, hasn't he? I think Tingle Creek
when the ground wasn't that bad in the Tingle Creek.
I put him up coming into the studio today because I didn't think they would be joint favourites. And you surprised me when I said, what price he kills, as we do in the office, and you said there's 6-4 joints. I think Pat will concur with that in a minute. I've got to admit, I'll look at how the market goes with this. If Nubi Negra drifts out, I can see him staying on his coattails and pouncing. But if it's a price thing for me, Grenadine should be fab. I make that the way too, Pat.
What about you? It should be a price thing for everybody.
Yeah, as things stand at the moment, there's 6-4 each, Grenadine and Nubi Negra. I do think So Royal, we all love him, but he is hard to fancy, isn't he? He's held strictly on the form book, so I can imagine him being a drifter. I look at the 2 rags, Rouge Vif and Sky Pirate. They're no mugs themselves. I think Rouge Vif is going to be key to the race. I'd expect him to be the sole front runner in it, and that will suit Grenadine, his stable companion. The version of last year, I was there last year, he beat Altior, no less. Okay, Altior was on the downward slope at that stage, but nevertheless, he won emphatically. The Tingle Creek form looks good. Nubi Negra, you have to respect him. I just think the overall CV of Grenadine reads better than Nubi Negra.
I think that is fair enough. The reason why I say it's a price thing is because sometimes you look at the most likely winner, don't you, and you get decent prices. These two, I can't see which way it's going to go. So keep your eyes on the market. Looks like Grenadine should go off clear, Fav. We'll find out. Now we've got to move on to the big one, the 335. It's the Bet365 Gold Cup, one of the best races of the entire year. Flat, jumps, whatever you want to look at. And we spoke to our good friend, Christian Williams, about his 3 in the race. Well, it would be remiss of us after the year we've had for Glamorgan trainer Christian Williams not to come and join us back for a 3rd time. Unprecedented scenes here on What a Shout. Let's go down and see the great man. There we are. We're used to the picture of Potters. Look, he sorted his do out as well. The hair was a bit rough after that. You just come off the gallops, Christian?
Yeah, no, we've had a good morning. Obviously, get a bit nervous before the big races, but all the horses were great this morning. Just a quiet day for them, and everything's good. The farrier was just checking them before I left, so hopefully all 3 good to go.
All 3 for the big race, the Bet365 Gold Cup. Now, Christian, come on, man. It's not like you to be greedy out there, is it? In February, you did the big double and also had the 1-2. Then you went to the Scottish Grand National and did the forecast as well. Each time you came on here on the Friday before and we're giving you a bit of good luck. Now you're going for the trifecta, man.
Yeah. I can have usually split them before, but I think I got one which has got I got a sneaky one here which I think will run well. I think Captain Nord could run well.
Yeah, why are you doing this to us, man? Look, all season I've been saying, literally since the start of the season, I've been saying there's one race for Kitty's Light. It's going to be the Bet365 Gold Cup. You threw in a bit of a curveball, of course, by running him against Wing My Wings. How did she win like that, by the way? She's gone up a stone. You got Rob James again. We know that the track didn't suit Kitty's Light. Now, we'll talk about the big 2 if you like, but Captain Orr, somewhat under the radar because it didn't go his way last time at Aintree, did it? And he was, a lot of people have forgotten, 5th in this race last year of a higher mark.
Yeah, it was his first try of the distance last year, so hopefully he's improved a little bit for that. But he didn't get beat far last year, only beaten about 4 or 5 lengths. So, you you give him a great chance. Nothing went right for him at Aintree. So put a line through that down, just work back as if the race, not the race, I suppose, as if the Coral Chase was his last run. So we go into the race confident with him. Kitty's Light, obviously a little bit unlucky that Win My Wings. Nicky, my brother, rides her every day, and he came to me about a week before the Scottish National and said that she needed to run in the race, which is a little bit unfortunate for Kitty's Light, because Win My Wings' big target was the Ida Chase, and then Kitty's Light's big target was the Scottish National. And he'd obviously been an impressive winner, bar for her running.
Yeah, they were well clear, weren't they? They were great scenes as well of you celebrating and all that sort of thing, man. But come on. Right, the 1, 2, 3. We've got a combination tri-cast for our regular viewers out there who've loved having you on, Christian, and we have a bit of fun about it. But you've got Rob James coming over again for Wing My Wings. She's gone up a stone, so theoretically only £7, I think we could say, with that robbery claim. You've got Kitty's, who's gone up, £2 for the Scottish National. That puts him £6 higher than when he was unjustly beaten in the race last year. And now you've got Sam Tristan Davies, who looks like a positive jockey booking. And of course, he beat Kitty's as well. So are you going to change things up on Captain Orr? And are you telling me that he might come out on top?
No, you couldn't. It is really, I know, come on here and try and split them, but you couldn't split them too much. Kitty's, as you said, we think the track will suit Kitty's Light. The track probably had air suited Win My Wings a little bit better, but you know, how can you pick any holes in what she's done the last 2 runs? She was impressive in the Ida Chase. We came on the show and picked out that she was impressive that day. And then I don't think too many people have seen what we all seen then, the Scottish National, for her to be so impressive that day. And she was just unbelievable. She looked unstoppable that day around that track. And you couldn't, go up a stones, a lot of weight over 4 mile. But you couldn't pick too many negatives. But I think Paul Nicholls is fairly bullish on his horse, but wouldn't it be great if we were first, second, and third, and Paul was fourth?
Your old boss, of course. Well, Christian, listen, thanks for coming on again, man. I know it's a really, really busy week for you. Paul Kealy's going to be there tomorrow. So, look, if it all goes to plan again, I want to see raucous scenes of you all in that winner's enclosure and then going up to the box and having a few drinks. Whatever happens, Christian, all the best for tomorrow. Thanks for coming on this year.
Thank you very much.
There we are then. We had to have the great man back on because every time he's been on this show, he's pulled off a bit of a Saturday, not miracle, but he's really stuck it up to him, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I actually said in tomorrow's column, I said it might be daft taking on a Christian Williams horse in a marathon staying chase because he wins just about everyone he has a runner in, doesn't he? Like, and he's done, he's worked wonders with...
I'm sensing a butt here.
Hey, he's worked wonders with My Wings, who's just absolutely scooted up in the Scottish National now. She's a stone higher. She's still got Rob James on board. Obviously his £7 claim is theft because he's had 200 odd point winners, hasn't he? So she's got a chance. He put in a good word for Cap de Nord there, and you can understand that because he wasn't beaten that far, and he's the one that's better off with the weights with all of them. But I warmed to a couple of outsiders earlier in the week, and I'm still fairly warm on them. So,
nice, go on.
I'm going there. So yeah, it'd actually be quite fitting if Brian Hughes could ride a big winner on his on the final day of the season, and he's reunited with Domaine de Lille, who was staying on fourth earlier in the season to Snow Leopardess and the Beecher Chase, and I thought that guaranteed that he was just going to be given a Grand National prep afterwards. And although he was 125 to 1 in the Nash, he was going along perfectly okay when unseating at the chair. And he comes in here a fresh horse, having dropped £9 this season, and this time last spring he was in serious form. He won a 2.5 mile chase on good ground at Kempton. He won a 3 mile 2 furlong chase on good ground at Cheltenham. With Hughes in the saddle, he's 2 from 3 on him and he rides him for the first time since. And he's £4 lower than that now. You look at the head of the market and you think, this has got a chance, but here's a horse that, he's only 9, he's clearly well handicapped, clearly goes on the ground, and is fresh. So I thought he'd have a massive chance, and I also think Streets of Doyen could well have been laid out a bit by John McConnell.
He's interesting.
I think this is the one race you can almost guarantee, not for sure, but almost guarantee that you will get pretty quick ground for a big chase. And this is what Streets of Doyen is all about. He needs it rattling. Ignore the fact that he was pulled up in the Brown Advisory last time. 1, he was out of his depth. 2, soft ground. He never goes a yard on soft ground. Look at his hurdle form last year. 3rd in the Albert Bartlett. 4, he was the only one in the first 5 home who didn't finish in the first 3 at the Cheltenham Festival this year. And that's because he ran out of his depth in the Brown Advisory on ground that he doesn't like. He was 4th to a horse Signor at Aintree after that. He won on his chase debut at Galway. He's found it harder since, but running 17 lengths 3rd to Gentleman de Me over a ridiculously inadequate 2 miles was a really good effort before he ran at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
He's a stayer. I mean, he is a stayer.
I said to you in the office before we were coming in tonight, Keels, to jump in, that John McConnell's horses, their form can be a bit misleading because they race.
Yes.
They race all throughout the year. And he has winners almost every time he comes to Britain. He had one at Perth in the week, didn't he?
That's right, yeah.
I have to admit, he is an interesting outsider. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, he's got Grade 1 form as a hurdler. Running off his mark is only £1 higher over here than it is in Ireland, which is less than some of them. If any horse, I looked at the going stick reading yesterday. It was 7.3. That's as high as I can remember it being for the jumps track. And it's got to be borderline good to firm. He's, if there's any horse that's really going to relish it, it'll be him.
Yeah, that'll worry about Kitty's Light somewhat. But after the story in the race last year, Potterman, Enrilo and Kitty's Light, the moral winner, take their chance again. I will put
Who's
Kitty's
the moral
on
winner?
top. The moral winner there?
Yeah.
It was Kitty's.
No, Enrilo would have won.
No, I know he would have won, but he went too soon and all that sort of thing. And it's a dreadful race for favourites. Listen, I get the justification for Enrilo.
No, I wouldn't give a monkey's
Kitty
about
should have won
dreadful
that.
race for favourites.
He was
meaningless.
desperately unlucky. But don't get me started on that, Kills.
I disagree.
We could be here all day. We'll go to the CAF afterwards and
then
keep this
Enrilo's the one that's better off as well, isn't he?
Well, he is better off, like Cap de Nord, who that was a curveball viewers, wasn't it? So come on then, Pat. You've heard us talking. Musical Slave's a sneaky one as well. Whether he's quite up for the battle, I'm not sure, but I bet he attracts some money.
Yeah, it's been a tremendous betting race anti-post because trainers have been quick to confirm that they're on target to run in the race. As things stand at the moment, Enrilo's favourite, first past the post a year ago. Has he done enough this year within his 3 runs to suggest he'll win it again? He's too short a price for me to be interested in. Kitty's Light, what you see is what you get. You're going to get a big run. But I think they're short enough at the head of the market. And like that, I think people are looking around for alternatives. I don't think there's much wrong with Win My Wings with Rob James claiming 7 after the way she dotted up in the Scottish. I like Musical Slave. He's only got 10 stone 2, and he was back in business last time out. Most of his form has been on soft, good to soft. He's untested on good, or even anything with the word fast involved. I think this is the type of race you could be looking outside the single figure horses. I do like Streets of Doyen, John McConnell, Shrewd Cookie. Not often you can back one of his at double figure prices in the UK. So it's just the type of race. I think us bookmakers, we're sensing the front two is short enough in the market, as popular as they are. I'll take Musical Slave on the basis he's a horse going forward and very much in form, though.
Yeah, if you're not on yet, and we're filming this Friday morning, of course, and you see Monmiral at 7-2, don't worry, those books are going to push him out. One winning fav since 92 in this race.
Yeah, I mean, that's meaningless to me. It's always 5 or 6 to 1 in the field.
Do you not think they're just ridiculously overbet because they're Nicholls or they're... Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, not necessarily. I think when you get a big field handicap that has, anything from 15 to 20 odd runners, your favourite's going to be 5 or 6 to 1. It's not a big deal if you have a run of losers of 20 odd. I mean, you'll get that, a bunch of 5 to 1 shots doing that any number of times throughout the season. So, no big deal at all. The betting's irrelevant.
OK, there you go. That, I think we do agree on. But it's Kitty's like, for me, Monmiral, he should have won last year, according to Keels. Weekend nap time. Right, Paul Kealy, take the floor. Is it aforementioned or something different?
Something different. We're going out with a bang in the final race at Sandown, the 5:15, with Call Me Lord, a horse who absolutely loves Sandown and has got to a ridiculously low mark. And when the early shows came up, I couldn't believe he wasn't favourite, and he wasn't even 4th best in the betting. So, when you look at him, he's only finished out the first 3 once at Sandown in his life, and that was over 3 mile in the Heroes Handicap Hurdle this year when he was 6 or 17, and he just doesn't stay that trip, doesn't get 3 mile. His last run at Sandown prior to that was in the Grade 2 Select Hurdle at this meeting last year, when he would have gone very close to winning it for the second time had he not spalled on landing at the last. He was rated 150 then. He was rated as high as 160. He's down to 140. Now, he didn't take the chasing at the start of the season, but he bounced back with a 3rd in the Lanzarote. That was before his Sandown 6th. And that Lanzarote won by Cobbler's Dream, finished 2nd in the Martin Pipe. Gelino Bello was just behind him and won the Grade 1 at Aintree. If he raced against them now, he'd be £16 and £12 better off with them because he's dropped in the weights. Ignore the run at Cheltenham, never been his track, even though he has won there. Back at Sandown, which he loves, off a mark of 140. He'll just outclass them, convinced he will.
And convinced most of us out there to side with him, I think, as well. He's the equine version of you. You're Mr. Sandown, he's Mr. Sandown,
I make him clear fav. I can't understand why he isn't.
All right, well, if you're going to be anywhere near the parade ring tomorrow, carry Keels out again if that goes and takes out the last. Pat, where are you going?
Haydock for me, the 3:45, and I'm going for a filly called King Mania. Not quite sure why it was called King Mania, but what's not to like about her? We haven't seen her since July, when she was a very unlucky loser off the same handicap mark of 86. She's not run since, but her trainer, Chris Wall, very much in amongst the winners. He had a filly called Double or Bubble win at Newmarket last week, and another winner since. So the stable in form. She's very well handicapped. It's her first run of the year. That's not a problem. She won first time out last year. So it's King Mania, the flying filly in the 3:45 at Haydock.
OK, I'll complete the treble. I'm also going on the flat at Haydock, half an hour before that in the 3:15. Friend of the show, Ed Bethell, trains Exminster, made favourite on his return at Beverley last time, flattened out a little bit, hung up the hill, needed the run, that I can assure you, and this flatter track will suit. The second has already come out and won as well for Hugo Palmer earlier this week. Exminster, he's one for your trebles. Well, what an absolute blockbuster show, as it should have been for you this week on What a Shout. Kills, great to have you back. You're no doubt doing your sizzlers and then all about Sandown.
I've done them. I did those last night, mate.
About 4 a.m. or
sit in front of the telly, watch the flat racing at Sandown and watch the Highland National at Perth, and then I'm going to have another study up for the rest of Sandown. I have pretty much done all of it, to be fair. And then I cannot wait for tomorrow. I shall be there when the gates open.
And when do we go to Dublin?
Tuesday.
So anyone who's at Punchestown, go and say hello.
I'll come say hello. Feel free to buy me a pint of Guinness. I'm sure I'll have a few. I'm there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday.
It's been nice knowing you, Keels. Pat, you're going to have the great man with you as well. Enjoy your big weekend. Great to have you on again, Pat.
Yeah, thoroughly looking forward to it all. It's the highlight of the year, really. It's very much an end-of-term feel about it. Lots of presentations, lots of happy faces. So come on down.
Yeah, just the start of it then. What a jump season it has been. What a pleasure it's been to have you on the show as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube watching the show. Get your comments in below. We love reading them as it goes on. Don't forget Gamble Responsibly this weekend. Tricky time of year, isn't it? Almost all changed. From myself, Dave Orton, what a pleasure it's been. Loads of sports out there. Enjoy it.